This video is a small experiment to see what is the difference in lag when I'm playing with a router, a connected router. So I have the main internet on the first floor. A wire, a 15-meter wire comes through it and attaches to another router through which another 15-meter wires comes to me. Okay, so it's 15 meter. Curious to see what the ping difference will be in Valorant, which is the only game I currently play competitively. So let's begin. Mumbai server is 45 millisecond, Singapore is 106, Hong Kong 111, Tokyo 151, and Sydney 228. Okay, now let's connect the other wire, and I have plugged in the longer cable. As you can clearly see, it is almost the same, not much of a difference. 45, 45, 106, 106, 111, 109, not much of a difference, I would say. Now let's try another game. I have all the results here. So in Valorant, you can see it's almost the same. And now I am seriously considering that should I need to run these tests again? Because if you see in the in CSGO, you see Bombay, it's 54 millisecond. And with the longer cable, it's just 44 millisecond. Not only that, the Singapore server, it's 93 millisecond here, but it's 76 millisecond here. So it is a big difference, but it is somewhat confusing. You see Bombay, it has lowered, but for Hong Kong server it has increased. For Singapore it has decreased. For Tokyo it has increased. You know what, I need to run a few more tests. I am still on the shorter cable that has the router in between, so the white cable with the router in between, and I can see the pings fluctuating a bit. If you see the ACLS Japan server, so it's 153, then it's 158. Okay, so this one, okay. Asia West again 147, Asia West 142, Asia West 144, Asia West 145. How much are these changing by? 140. Okay. Is the CS scoping? Let's wait a bit, let it stabilize a bit. Hong Kong is not 1100 ping, man. The hell is wrong with you? I play it on it regularly, it's like 120 ping. So ASEAN, Asia, Japan, Tokyo is still 143. Okay. And it's going to 157. Okay, 144 seems like the best ping. Yeah, let's try it again now with the longer cable that does not have a router in between. So as you can see, now we are on the longer cable, the blue color cable, which has no router in between. Yeah, so I accidentally pulled out the cable. So let's see how is the ping fluctuating now. Asia North is still 148 and Asia West is 150. 147 and 150, around 150 Asia West still. Do we give it a few more seconds? Nah, I think this is fine. Let's check the CSGO one. Okay, this looks interesting. So what it seemed from earlier with Valorant, it was that Mumbai, Singapore, Hong Kong, none of the pings change as it seemed from before. But what I am thinking now is that Valorant takes a bit of time, maybe a lot of long time before they show the actual ping. So I will need to test this in game now. Let's check what the website says. So it says that Asia West should be 145 and it's 148. So it's within the margin of error. Sorry, Asia West is 147. Yeah, it is. And North is 160. It is within 10 milliseconds. That's fine. EU Central 174. EU Central 153. That is a bit less. EU North 185. North 180. West 203. West 194. Okay, so and on average I see 10 millisecond uh, gain. NA Central 233, 241. So this is difference here. NA West 248 and 249 almost the same. Northwest also, but I would say this is within the margin of local thoughts after these tests are that these tests are inconclusive as the margin of error is too large to differentiate. The only way to actually find these out is to test them in game. That is the thing that I can do. So let's drop in game. So the gameplay you are seeing right now, it's on the longer cable that doesn't have the router in between. Okay, I have temporarily reduced my resolution, so keep an eye out on the network average. So it says 108, 109, and the network jitter and network RTT. So it's 130. Okay, let's time to wrap this up and connect the other cable. I started these tests in the first place is because whenever I played on this Hong Kong server, which you see it's 113 millisecond, whenever I used to play on these servers in Valorant, I used to get kicked out from the match like in the middle, and I was on the loading screen, and all I could hear what was going on. I could hear that I was AFK in the game, so it's not like my cable came out or something. So I could hear what was going on, but I was unable to reconnect. It took about 1 or 2 minutes to reconnect. Every time the match started, I had to wait like 1 or 2 rounds before anything even came on the screen. And I was puzzled because I was on 120 pings only. I was in Delhi. I was on another ISP, Airtel. So in that, on some servers, I had more than that ping, more than 120, but I never had that issue. Now I am in Bihar, so I am playing on the worst net ever for gaming. So that's Jio. So in that, I'm getting disconnected on the Hong Kong server. So I thought maybe the second router between the primary Jio router and me is the problem. So this is the reason I am running these tests. So you know what? I will play one Spike Rush, and now I have simply connected these longer cable. I have just removed this solder cable because it was indistinguishable to tell, and I can only say anything after playing for a while. So I played a game of Spike Rush, and it felt like I was playing on Singapore server, even though I was playing on Hong Kong server. So I get lower ping on Singapore servers, and yet on Hong Kong servers I was getting like 100, 100, 203 ping, which is not what I usually get on Hong Kong servers. On your Hong Kong servers, I get more than 120 ping with the router in between this system and the other one. So even though Hong Kong says 111, it drops down to 100, about 100 milliseconds in game. And when there is a router in between my laptop and the main router, this easily goes 130 easily. It stays always 130, and that is not the only problem. The other problem is I keep disconnecting in between. So I think that would be a final way to end this all, to say, let me just show you the final sheet that I made, that whatever these charts may say, The reality is I was getting lower and more stable ping. I think that is more important to highlight here. You can see I was getting 107 ping, and I was getting 99. But even then, this 99 ping is more stable. This Hong Kong 107 millisecond ping is more stable than this Singapore 107 milliseconds ping. So if you can, I don't think, if you can afford another router to get between your primary router and your system, you can easily afford a longer cable. So this cable, this 30-meter cable, it was like, it was 1/5, like 20% the cost of the router, this cable. And I think if you are playing any type sort of online games, you need to have an Ethernet cable, and there should be no disturbance in between. So that means if you are in Wi-Fi, there can be physical obstruction, a person walking a wall, there's cannot be in between. That's why you play always on Ethernet. And the second thing, which this video was all about, there cannot be another router in between your system and the main router. So I think that's called a repeater or something, Wi-Fi repeater. I think that's what it's sold by. Do not have. Get a single cable.